Jameson Crowder did not practice with a calf. C.J. Mosley, his back. Elijah Riley, concussion. Sheldon Rankins, his knee. And Bryce Hall, illness, non-COVID. Those guys did not practice. Limited practice today was George Fant because of his knee, LDT because of his ankle, and Quentin Williams, his shoulder. That's the injury report, and I'd like to open it up for questions.
Ron, could you just take us through kind of this morning and it must have been a pretty crazy morning and just kind of how you got the news and what these last few hours have been like for you?
Okay. We had meetings, virtual meetings, and about 11:15 or so, Coach Sala called a staff meeting, and that's when he informed us that he had tested positive for COVID, and that that's when he also informed the staff that I will be standing in until he gets back. As far as it's gone, we had a walkthrough at noon. So I had like 45 minutes for it to soak in. Addressed the team on the field right before the walkthrough. Told them what Coach Solid said, and then we commenced the practicing. And here we are.
Ron, have you and throughout your career, whether it was in the college ranks or professional ranks, ever had to do anything like this? Not fill in for COVID, but just in terms of kind of run the show yourself?
Not to this extent. I've had to run a practice once. I was associate head coach at Duke, and I had to run a practice one day. But other than that, no. This is it.
Ron, what kind of challenges? Like you said, you had about 45 minutes of lead time before you were running a practice. Just what kind of challenge is it with all the different logistics and really not knowing when Robert is going to be cleared?
Yeah, you know, the good thing about that is that there's a good plan in place. Robert's done a great job of hiring staff. Of course, I'm a little biased about that, but he has a great plan, and he's very clear with his plan. So that part, I mean, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm just trying to steer the ship, keep the ship steered in the right direction. So far, no issues. Hopefully, it stays like that.
Ron, jumping off that, if it had to happen, is it, the fact that it is late in the season and you've had, all these guys, they know you, you know them, that kind of thing. Does that help in terms of kind of making that transition where you're kind of leading these guys at this point?
No question, it does help. I was one of the few that didn't know. There was a couple, Aaron Whitecotton and Rudy. I think were the only two coaches on the staff that I've had any dealings with, other than Robert, of course. So yes, just being this late in the season, it does help. I think these guys know what type of person I am, what type of coach I am, and know that I'm strictly team. There's no selfish or personal deal in it at all. It's strictly team. Whatever I can do to help this team beat the Jaguars on Sunday. Yes, to answer your question, yes, it was good that these guys know me now.
Your history in Jacksonville, although I know it wasn't with this coaching staff, but I'm sure there's at least some player crossover. Does that help you at all with kind of stepping in here for Robert?
Help me? No, doesn't help me. Those guys will tell you they want to beat me as bad as I want to beat them. And that's just the way it is. Whenever you go to a different team, or when you're playing against friends, or competing against friends, and I consider a bunch of those people over there my friends, you want to beat them. you know, so I don't think it makes it easier or by no means, but it's gonna be fun.
Ron, had you guys discussed this prior, that you were the kind of the contingency plan if Robert did test positive? Obviously, the last 2 years, teams have had to make these kind of plans. Had you guys discussed that before?
Yes, we talked briefly last week when he was not feeling well, and he informed me that if something did happen, that he wanted me to fill in for him. Yes, so we had briefly discussed it. Yes.
What does that mean to you, that you're the guy that he would put that kind of faith in?
Well, I've known him a long time, but I'm not going to get into his train of thought as to why he chose me. That I think that would be a question that he would be better able to answer.
Ron, what was kind of the reaction of the players when you told them? George Fant was just on. He said he was surprised, but what was kind of the reaction?
Everything's been positive. You know, basically told them that we're all professionals. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But what we do know is that we have a game on Sunday at this point. Maybe that changes tonight, tomorrow, day after, who knows? But right now, we're getting ready for practice, and we're all professionals. And last I saw, they didn't change any of those route numbers. Okay, so let's go out here and let's practice and let's get better and let's start preparing and get ready to beat the Jaguars on Sunday.
We'll take a few more for Coach.
Ron,
Just,
is the only thing Robert's not able to do right now basically practice, because you guys were on a virtual schedule anyway? So is he still in all the meetings and everything?
We're going to discuss it more, but at this point, I think he's going to run all the team meetings virtually. But like I said, that hasn't been etched in stone yet. So we're going to, it was 45 minutes before we went out to practice. So there's some logistics and some things we got to clean up, but shouldn't be an issue.
Ron, just a typical head coach type question here, but with these injuries, are any of them, like with Crowder and CJ usually takes off on Thursday as a rest day. So are any of these serious to the extent that they might miss the game?
We could be, could not be. At this point, I'm not at liberty to say. I'm going to talk to the trainer and see how it progresses. But right now, I don't have knowledge of that.
Eric prepped you well, huh?
That's a good.
Eric, I tell you what, these guys I have a newfound appreciation for them, no question.
Ron, that was a good head coach answer you just gave on the injuries.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.
We're going to put everyone back in the waiting room before the next player.